The Department of Transportation and the country's transport systems continue to evolve over the decades since it was established in 1899. Over the past 125 years, the Department of Transportation continues to serve as the government's primary transport policy, planning, coordinating, and implementing agency in the promotion, development, and regulation of dependable and coordinated transport networks. Under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the DOTR has been relentless in improving the country's public transport system. Transformation of the country's transport system is in full swing.
My order to the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, is really very simple. Full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead. In his first State of the Nation address, President Marcos directed the Department of Transportation. Full speed ahead. In compliance, the department set the goal of elevating the country's transport systems to global standards. As one of the lead agencies implementing the Build Better More infrastructure development program of the Marcos administration, the Department of Transportation and its attached agencies is fast-tracking the completion of projects in the aviation, maritime, railways, and road sectors. In the aviation sector, the DOTR launched the rehabilitation and modernization of various airports, starting with a public-private partnership of the operations and maintenance of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, improvements at Clark International Airport, ongoing land development works for the construction of the new Manila International Airport in Bulacan, and PPP of the operations and maintenance of the Laguindingan Airport and Bohol Panglao International Airport, construction of greenfield airport projects such as the Bukidnon Airport, New Dumaguete Airport, New Zamboanga Airport, General Santos, Virac, Puerto Princesa, Ormoc, Calbayog, Cataraman, Butuan, Camiguin, Tacloban, Davao International Airport, and several more airports for development. Meanwhile, major leaps have been achieved in the railway sector. Construction is in full swing for the North-South Commuter Railway, LRT-1 Cavite Extension, MRT-7, and the Metro Manila Subway. Upcoming rail projects for implementation soon include MRT-4, South Long Haul Railway, Mindanao Railway Phase 1, Subic-Clark Railway, among others. Embedded in the massive railway system development is the development and improvement of competencies of human resources through the Philippine Railways Institute. Under the road sector, the DOTR is continuously implementing the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program to reform and improve the public transport operations in the country, complemented by the Service Contracting Program and the Fuel Subsidy Program. The DOTR is also promoting the use of active transportation through the establishment of bike infrastructures nationwide. Aside from this, the sector will also build the EDSA Greenways project to conveniently connect MRT-3 to other modes of road transport using elevated and eco-friendly walkways along selected segments of EDSA. The agency's road sector is also improving land transport in Metro Manila's R3 with the EDSA busway, in Cebu City with the Cebu Bus Rapid Transit, and in Davao City with the Davao Public Transportation Modernization Project. DOTR's maritime sector, composed of the Philippine Coast Guard, Maritime Industry Authority, Philippine Ports Authority, and the Cebu Port Authority, have been relentless in upgrading numerous seaports and ensuring the coastal cities and communities are competitive for trade, investment, and tourism. These transport infrastructure initiatives created an overarching spectrum of opportunities for the country's economic development by addressing transport bottlenecks and gaps. The Department of Transportation has been consistent with its trust and long-term outlook by investing in mobility and connectivity across the archipelago. Secretary Jaime J. Bautista remains laser-focused on the goal: provide comfortable, accessible, safe, sustainable, and affordable travel experience for all.
Kanina po, nangalap na po tayo ng mga questions sa mga kasamahan po natin. At kung meron po kayong mga questions, kung maaari po, mailimit lang po ng one question at one follow-up question. So yan, syempre, of course, nauna na sa pila ang ating kasamahan from PINCR. Pwede pong matawagan natin kung sino po ang magtatanong. Maaari lang pong magpakilala at kung
Good morning po everyone. My name po is Jerome Paunan from PIA NCR. My question po is for CAAP. Can you elaborate how your agency's collaboration with international aviation bodies enhance the quality of air services in the Philippines?
Thank you po. Hello. Thank you po sa question, no? Ang standards and recommended practices po ay nakukuha po natin from the ICAO, yung mga associations po ng mga aviation, no? Mahalaga po sa atin yan sapagkat kapag ka po alam natin at tumupad po tayo dyan sa mga SARPs, kung tawagin, malalaman po at makikita natin na we are at par with other nations. Yan po ang nakukuha natin sa paglahok po sa mga iba't ibang events, sa international events. Ano po. So, nakukuha po natin ang latest, plus ginagawa po natin ang ating makakaya para po tayo makatupad sa lahat po ng mga standards na yan. Yan po ang idinudulot niyan.
For follow-up po, how do PPP projects contribute to the development and modernization of airport infrastructure in the Philippines?
Attorney Dan, can you please answer that?
Yes. Magandang umaga po. Ako po si Danjon Lucas. I'm the Deputy Director General for Administration of CAAP. Kaugnay po doon sa katanungan kung paano makakatulong ang public-private partnership sa improvement ng airport. Unang-una po, malaking tulong po yung magagawa nun kaya sinusuportahan ng CAAP at ng inyong DOTR. Thank you, sir. Unang-una po, yun pong funding na ini-infuse ng ating private sector, malaking tulong po yun. Kasi hindi po lagi na may revenue source na nakukuha ang ating mga paliparan. Nagkakaroon din po tayo, of course, because of the limited budget ng ating mga government agency, nagkakaroon tayo ng prioritization. Ngayon po, pag pumasok ang private sector, malaki po yung capital investment na itutulong nila para mas mapaganda ang ating mga paliparan. Hindi lamang po ito nalilimitahan sa ating mga passenger terminal building, kasama rin po yung improvement sa technology na dinadala nila mula sa iba't ibang international investors. Kaya po nagpapasalamat po tayo muli sa ating mga kaibigan sa private sector na tumutulong sa ating mga paliparan sa pamamagitan ng kanilang mga proposal para mas mapaganda pa at ma-improve ang ating mga paliparan. Ito naman po ay lahat para sa ikagaganda po ng serbisyo na maibibigay ng ating gobyerno sa ating mga mananakay. So, basically, yun po yung naitutulong ng PPP projects. No? Yung otherwise na walang budget, otherwise na nadidelay na improvement in procurement, yun po yung mga gaps na sasagot ng ating mga PPP sa pamamagitan ng mga proyektong ito. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Ayan, maraming salamat po, sir. Sa susunod po natin na katanungan, we have PTV for... sino po ang naka... Ayan na. Sige po. Maraming pakilala lang po kayo, ma'am. Thank you po.
Morning po. Denise Osorio po ng this question po is addressed to the railway sector, Ms. Jad. The railway sector has frequently reported issues with the right-of-way acquisition. What is the department doing about this?
Hello. Yeah. Good morning again. No? Magandang umaga ulit sa lahat. With regards to the right-of-way activities of the railway sector, with the support of the President, he has issued Administrative Order number 19 last March 25. And with this IAC or Interagency Committee, this actually gives the DOTR a direct line to coordinate sa iba pang mga national agencies. And this one, nagkaroon ng first meeting noong April 25 at ang pangalawa is May 30, and we are scheduled to have an IAC meeting every month. Now, during the meetings of this IAC, isa po sa mga napag-uusapan dito ay yung mga best practices para ma-streamline o mapadali ang proseso ng ating right-of-way activities para sa ating railway projects in a way na magkaroon tayo ng ating tinatawag na whole-of-government approach. So gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, ang members ng IAC or Interagency Committee na ito is DOTR, the DSUD, DILG, the Department of Finance, DBM, DENR, DSWD, Department of Justice, and OSG. And syempre, ang PNR naman ang tumutulong dito sa IAC as secretariat. Thank you.
All right. Si Sir. Yes, sir.
Rambo Labay ng DCXL RMN. Address ko sa railway system. Sir, kailan ba talaga operational itong MRT-7? Kasi 2022, naudlot ito eh. Naudlot 2022. I-divert po. Anong epekto nito sa operational, yung date of completion? Gagana pa ba itong MRT-7? Kasi mukhang i-divert tapos nag-usap yung mga LGU, 2022 na udlot. Ang tanong ng taong bayan, gagana pa ba ito? Yung MRT-7? O paano ang gagawin natin?
Magandang umaga po ulit at maraming salamat po sa inyong tanong. Regarding MRT-7 po, ang MRT-7 ito ay yung magmumula ng North Avenue hanggang San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. Ito ay inaasahan na magkaroon ng 14 stations at ang inaasahan natin dito ay once operational, magkakaroon ito ng mga 530,000 daily ridership. So, sa tanong nyo po na kung kailan ba talaga ito magiging operational, inaasahan po natin na magiging operational ang first 12 stations. 12 stations by end of 2025. So, uulitin po natin, meron po itong 14 stations, pero yung first 12 stations magiging operational na po ito by end of 2025. So, ina-expect po natin na yung dalawang susunod na panais na mga estasyon, which is Station 13 and 14, ay magiging operational 1 year after, yun po ang ating ma-update sa MRT-7. Maraming salamat po.
Yan. So, thank you po for your question.
Follow up, tatakbo pa to? Tatakbo pa yung
yung
yung MRT, ma'am? 7, tatakbo pa. Kasi yung sa nagkaroon kasi ng di ba, yung divert na divert. Oo.
Yes po, ito po, mag-uumpisa po ang operasyon nito sa 2025 mula po North Avenue hanggang bago mag-Caloocan Station po.
So, asahan na yan ng mga mananakay, mga riders.
Tama po.
Ayan, sir. Maraming salamat po from DCXL. Tama po ba? Okay. Dito naman po tayo sa kabilang microphone. Okay, siguro mag-entertain na lang po tayo ng ilang questions muna and then we will have the live stream sa PTV po and then we will continue our Facebook Live na lang po. So, sir, good morning po. Please state your name and your affiliation po.
Good morning po. Victor Cabuenas from GMA Online. The question is addressed to the railway sector. Good morning, ma'am. Just wanted to ask for updates on the subway project, especially the right-of-way. Have we addressed the issues with the cultural property with the DepEd already? Thank you.
Thank you very much po for the question. No? With regards to the subway project, as I mentioned po earlier, no, currently we already have 3 tunnel boring machines na operational. And as of now, the first tunnel boring machine has already done 1 kilometer. Yung pangalawa is 1.1 kilometers. And yung pangatlo is at 105 meters. No? Relative to the right-of-way, as you mentioned on the DepEd station, we are currently in discussion and coordination with the Department of Education, the NNC, and also the National Cultural Commission, no, with regards to how we can address the concern po ni NNC, no, and ni DepEd on the said building. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir. Siguro yung next question po natin, baka pwede po natin i-direct muna kay either kay Marina po or kay Yusek, dahil si Yusek may lakad din po ngayong umaga. Ang question, kung may question po muna na tayo kay Yusek. Yes, sir. Sige po, kayo na po muna dahil nandiyan na po kayo sa mic. Good morning
Okay,
po.
JM Pineda, IBC 13. Kay Yusek Ortega. Sir, tanong ko lang about dun sa, meron kasi yung binobong story about bike lanes. So, in that case po ba, gaano ka-safe yung mga bike lanes natin ngayon sa Metro Manila, sir?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, kung gaano ka-safe, it should be safe. Obligation natin to, no? So there are different kinds of classes sa bike lane, no, to give the support or safety aspects sa bike lanes. Meron tayo yung separated, talagang totally wala siyang katabi. Meron tayo dito yung dedicated, wherein meron siyang mga either cement or structures that will make it safe. And meron tayo yung shared, kasabay niya yung mga kalye. I mean, ang mga sasakyan. So on the part of DOTR Road now, dahil nakalagay na tayo a lot in Metro Manila, iisa-isahin natin to. So we will now be focused on the maintenance and upgrading to make sure, base nga sa katanungan mo, to make sure na ito ay magiging safe. Because this is part of the obligation of the government. Hindi ka lang namin bibigyan ng isang daanan or isang sitwasyon that you could ride your vehicle safely, but also we have to ensure na tuloy-tuloy yan.
Next question ko po kay Asek Georgette. Asek, tungkol po dun sa, kung nakausap na po ba ng DOTR si LGU ng SJDM regarding dun sa nangyaring hindi ata pagkakasunduan na i-divert. Sinusugan ko lang yung yung question ni DCXL kanina na ililipat daw yung way nung lugar kasi nga hindi nagkasundo dun sa lugar. Ano po ba yung balita? Nakausap nyo na po ba yung LGU ng SJDM ulit?
Maraming salamat po. Actually po, kami ay ongoing ang aming pakikipag-usap at coordination with San Jose del Monte LGU. No? At isa po sa aming napag-usapan ay pag-aaralan namin yung kanilang pinopropose na alignment. Hindi naman po hindi kami nagkasunduan ng LGU at ang DOTR. Pero sa pagtutulungan ng LGU at DOTR, tinitingnan din natin kung ano yung mas mabuti, no, at mas mapapakinabangan ng mga constituents ng San Jose del Monte at ng ating mga pasahero. So ongoing po kami ng discussion and inspection para mapag-aralan yung kanilang proposed po.
Last one na po. Asek, kaya ba nating mas pabilisin pa yung kasi sabi last time 2027, 2028 pa yung possible na fully operational na nung MRT7 eh. Possible kaya na mas mapabilis natin para dun sa mga pasahero?
Yun po ang ginagawa ng DOTR, kaya napagpasyahan na yun nga po na magpa-partial operations po tayo nung first 12 stations by end of 2025. At inaasahan naman po na yung next station, Station 13, inaasahan natin na ito ay makukompleto at magiging operational by end of 2026. And kung maging tuloy-tuloy na po ang ating usapan with San Jose del Monte LGU at finalize na po natin yung alignment na magiging mas mabuti para sa ating mga pasahero doon, inaasahan naman po natin na ito ay makukompleto by 2027. So ang ating mga pasahero sa may Commonwealth Avenue, ito ay magiging operational na by 2025, end of 2025 po, from stations 1 to stations 12. Maraming salamat po.
Alright, maraming salamat po. Before po tayo magpunta sa next question, meron po tayong natanggap na question dun po sa mga nanonood sa atin sa live stream. Para po ito kay Marina. Sir, exactly a year ago, you forged a partnership daw with Climate Change Commission in a bid to lessen the carbon footprint of the shipping industry. Meron na po ba tayong mga notable gains daw, sir, so far?
Magandang umaga po. If I remember right po, we have we have poured the partnership with the climate change, and as a result of that, kasi member po tayo sa IMO, wherein sa carbon reduction, part po tayo sa GHG, sa passing of those pertinent regulation. And as far as Marina is concerned po, we have issued memorandum circulars na effective 2025, yung sulfur cap, yung fuel compliance po ng ating mga domestic vessels ay dapat po naka-anchor na sa pag-comply nila ng compliant fuel po sa ating domestic trade. So far, those are the regulations that we have issued in relation po sa ating pong climate change partnership at advocacy, especially sa shipping sector po. That we have a lot of regulations na po pertaining to that. I hope that we have explained on
yes
more
po.
on that.
Maraming salamat, sir. Sige po. Para po sa mga nanonood sa atin sa PTV4 at nakikinig po sa Radyo Pilipinas, dito po nagtatapos ang ating live feed broadcast sa ating tele-radyo na ating simulcast. Pero po sa ating mga kasamahan dito sa media, marami pa po ang mga nakapila na magtatanong. Magpapatuloy po tayo sa ating Facebook Live until 10:15 a.m. po. So makaka-accommodate pa po siguro tayo ng mga ilan pang katanungan mula sa ating mga kasamahan sa media. So yan po, magandang umaga po ulit sa ating mga nanonood at mga nakikinig sa PTV4 at sa Radyo Pilipinas. So ayan po, sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating live feed, sa Facebook Live, sa PIA, sa DOTR, sa mga attached agencies po. Patuloy po tayo na magtatanggap ng mga katanungan at sasagutin po ng ating mga resource speaker. Sige po, ang next po na magtatanong, kung maaari lang po, pakilala nyo po ang inyong sarili at ang inyong pong affiliation. Thank you po.
Good morning, Princess Castro, One Media Network. This question is for everyone. With all the projects mentioned earlier, since nagka-transition na tayo sa La Nina, ano yung mga paghahanda para hindi maantala o makaapekto sa pagtapos ng mga proyekto? Or are we expecting any delays from that?
Kay Nino po nakatuon ang inyong question. Sa lahat po ba ng ating mga speakers?
Yes po, DOTR, Kaap, Marina.
Para po sa ating mga ongoing na railway projects, ang ating contractors naman po ay handa na magpatuloy ng kanilang construction kahit pagdating ng La Nina. Ito po ay itong mga projects naman po natin ay hindi lang ngayon nag-umpisa. Ito po ay ongoing ng ilang taon na. So, aside from their preparedness, we also learn from our experiences ng mga previous years para maiwasan natin yung mga naging problema ng mga nakaraan na rainy season. Maraming salamat po.
Sige po, sir. Captain?
Sa Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines po, taon-taon po ay naghahanda tayo, no, sa tuwing meron pong ganito, no. Alam po natin papasok ang mga bagyo, kaya po nagpalabas na tayo ng memo at kinausap na po natin ang mga areas natin na maganda po para sa mga pagdating ng mga bagyong iyan. So ang kada airport po ay nakaprepare, meron po tayong mga procedures in place at alam na po nila kung ano po ang ipapatupad kapag meron po tayong weather disturbance.
Good morning po again. Sa larangan po ng maritime naman, especially sa marina, sa amin po kasi isa lang po yung mantra namin, safety is non-negotiable. So definitely po sa mga barko po natin, we're conducting calibrated and random inspections so that in preparation po sa tag-ulan. Of course, pagtulungan din na ating po mga kasamahan sa field, our enforcers with the Coast Guard, PPA, and all other entities sa under maritime sectors, kami po ay naghahanda na po, lalo na sa pag-inspection nating mga barko. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat po sa mga sagot ng ating mga resource person. Meron pa po bang ibang katanungan para po dun sa mga hindi po natin nakuha kanina habang nagpe-present sila, sir? Good morning po.
Hi, Sir Ember. Si Ace po ito ng Balitang A to Z. Question for ASEC Vigor Mendoza lang. Hingi lang sana ako, ASEC, ng update lang tungkol dun sa releasing natin ng plastic license card tsaka yung plaka. Nakailang percentage na kaya? Thank you.
Dito po sa license cards, no, tuloy-tuloy po ang ating pag-release ng lisensya. In fact, we will have a regional conference this week para ma-assess natin mas pabuti yung pag-distribute ng mga license cards nationwide. No? But so far, so good. No? May konting problema here and there dahil sa ating engraver machines. But meron namang solusyon na ginagawa para mapabilis ang paglabas ng license cards. No? Yung sa plaka naman po, nag-usap naman po kami ng mga dealers yesterday, no? And talagang hiningin namin ang kanilang tulong na mapalabas ang plaka within 11 days from the time makabili ng sasakyan ang ating motorista. So from the time na magbayad yung motorista sa dealer, ang usapan namin sa dealer, 11 days, no? Dapat yung plaka ready to be given to them already. So there should be no more delays. We are dead set, no, that by July 1, no, lahat ng plaka na naka-inventaryo sa mga dealer, sa mga LTO offices, dapat nalabas na po yan, no, sa ating mga motorista. So we are on track for that purpose. Maraming salamat po.
Right. Maraming salamat po, sir, from A to Z. Yes po, next question please.
Morning, sir. This concerns for the LTO with regard to Philippine Information Agency po pala, Del. So regarding po dito sa mga issuance ng licenses, sir, kasi paano po yung nag-resume na po yung pagbibigay ng plastic cards. So I would like to know, and the rest siguro, sir, kung paano po yung process. For those na may hawak lang po ng papel, will they go to the office po or patatawag na rin po siya ng LTO? And second question po, para isahin ko na lang, for the Philippine Coast Guard po, regarding po dito sa upcoming La Nina, what are the preparations po, no, in terms of our ports? Kung ano po yung mga preparations natin since baka mag-expect tayo ng mga malalakas. Thank you.
Opo, doon sa license card, maraming salamat po sa tanong, no? Nagsimula ho tayo ng distribution April 15, no? And so far, maganda po ang response po ng ating publiko po dyan, no? Kumulang 2.5 million ang nalabas na ho nating cards. This is mostly from the backlog of 2023, no? So yung expected output po natin, tuloy-tuloy lang po, no? Mabuti naman, sa tulong ng DOTR, we have enough supply, no, to carry us over until the end of the year. Pag mag-uptick ng konti yan, handa naman tayo dagdagan yung supply na yan. So, di po, kailangan lang nila bumalik. Kung may papel na po sila, babalik lang po sila doon sa opisina kung saan nila na po yung card at handa na po yung card doon.
Thank you, sir.
Opo, maraming po salamat.
For the Coast Guard, for the upcoming.
Yes po. Good morning, everyone. I'm Commander Vincent Laca. I'm the station commander of Coast Guard Station Manila. So with regard to your question po, pag tagbagyo po, we have policies in place. So under our circular MC2-13, once na may typhoon po, sinususpend po namin ang mga biyahe. Sabi nga po ni RD Marina is safety is non-negotiable po. So kailangan po nating suspend talaga ang mga biyahe. With regard to other preparations, parati pong nagtitraining at naka-standby ang mga iba't ibang unit natin just in case we have a search and rescue operations.
Thank you, sir.
Ayan, before po tayo mag-next question, of course, gusto po natin i-acknowledge si Attorney Mercy Jane Paras Laines of LTFRB. Of course, good morning po. Kung gusto niya rin, kung may mga questions din kayo sa LTFRB, you can also yun pala yun. Okay, may question pa po ba tayo from our media? Oh, last question na lang ba? Ay, meron pa. So, sige po. Si ma'am po muna ang mag-ask ng question. Sige po, kayo po muna.
Morning po, Andrea Taguines from ABS-CBN. For LTFRB lang po. For the and LTO na rin. Sakto, good morning ma'am. From the post-consolidation lang po dun sa jeepney modernization, meron na po ba tayong guideline in terms of yun, yung mga magiging colorum na jeepneys? And yun, yung paano po natin i-apprehend ba? Itutuloy pa ba natin tong apprehension na to? Considering na last House hearing din po, it was proposed din na baka pwede silang bigyan ng provisional authority pa.
Good morning, ma'am. Tama po kayo. During the last hearing at the House of Representatives, it was suggested by the good congressmen and yung mga transport stakeholders natin to reconsider granting daw authority for them to at least provisionally operate while the due process aspect of the consolidation of franchises is ongoing. So, bigay ko lang ng konti yung perspective dun sa level of industry consolidation as far as consolidation of franchises. So, natapos tayo dun sa April 31 April 30 nung industry consolidation on the organizational level. Currently, the LTFRB Central Office and all its franchising regional offices are conducting hearings, no, and issuance of show cause orders para dun sa mga hindi nakapag-consolidate. And this will culminate into the issuance of the CPC para dun sa mga consolidated entities. Ang target namin dyan would be by the end of the year, all of the consolidated entities will now have their consolidated franchises pursuant dun sa ating PTMP. Yung dun sa hindi nag-consolidate, as far as enforcement operations against them are concerned, inaayos lang natin, no, yung ating pag-conduct ng mga hearings and pagbigay ng due process dun sa mga hindi nag-consolidate. Transition pa rin kasi tayo ngayon from their previous fragmented operation to the now consolidated operation. So, sabay nating ina-assist, no, yung nag-consolidate at saka yung hindi, until such time that the DOTR, the LTFRB, and the LTO determines that it is now ready for full regulatory operations, then we will advise accordingly our stakeholders na hindi nakasama dun sa ating programa, ma'am. Thank you.
Follow-up lang din po, ma'am. It was mentioned before na mag-release yung LTFRB ng list of routes na parang yung kamusta yung consolidation, which routes are have less consolidated units, which are parang affected.
Yan. Yung list of routes, oo nga, no, na dun sa ibang forum na na-attendan natin, we are still finalizing the actual list of routes kasi when we gathered the last, ito kasing data natin on consolidation, no, is up to now, it's still being affected by the resolutions issued by the board and the regional offices dun sa mga motion, it's a quasi-judicial function of the LTFRB. So, nadadagdagan itong mga ruta na maaaring pinag-merge or may TSE na merong inad na members. So yung mga ruta na listahan na yan, ilalabas din namin soon, and we will advise also. Probably the chairman will call for a press conference when this data is available and make it accessible to you. But right now, it is at 70+%, as far as consolidation in routes are concerned. But for units, it's 81%, ma'am, nationwide. Thank you.
Ayan, maraming salamat po. Sige, sabi daw ni Yusek, we can entertain one last question po before we end the live stream. Sige sir, go ahead po. Good morning po.
Good morning, Gerard de la Peña from TV5. KBM Lanes. So ma'am, categorically po, wala pa po tayong hulihan as we speak. Wala pong mangyayaring hulihan.
Wala pa po kasi po tayo po nagta-transition, Alam din natin na merong epekto, at consequences yung hindi pagsali sa PTMP. Pero ayaw din naman natin na hindi pa nabigyan ng due process. Kasi this is a requirement of the Public Service Act. So we really have to comply with this, And to caution, just to at least caution the effect of non-participation in the program.
Ma'am, so in effect po, yung napag-usapan po sa hearing sa House, so bibigyan sila ng parang 1 year pa na extension, tama ba? Yung mga hindi consolidated.
Yan ang kasulukuyang pinag-aaralan ng board, Nagpatawag si Chairman Guadis ng pagpupulong sa board at dun sa aming mga technical staff. I think it's scheduled next week, To specifically, that's one of the agenda, to revisit, how we can further relieve those who did not comply with or participate in the PTMP, yung effects ng non-consolidation.
Thank you, ma'am. Kay Captain Ed Diaz, ano lang po, yung sa situation po ngayon sa Bacolod Silay Airport, ano po ba yung situation po right now that warranted na mag-cancel po tayo ng flight?
Dahil po yan doon sa pagputok po ng bulkan, related doon ang tanong nyo. Anyway po, lahat po ng flights going to Bacolod sa ngayon, nagkaroon na po tayo ng maraming cancellations for the safety of everyone. So, nagpalabas po ang CAAP ng Notice to Airman na para po alam ng ating mga stakeholders ang danger sa paglipad po papunta dyan sa Bacolod. So, ang mga major carriers po ay nagsipag-cancel na ng flights. Ang last po na update sa akin, nasa around 63 flights na nag-cancel. Ngayon po, 66 na.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, maraming salamat po sa ating mga media, sa ating pong mga kasamahan sa Kawani. At sa atin mga resource speakers, of course, maraming salamat po talaga namang sir, may edad.
Okay, sir. Gusto ko lang magpasalamat talaga sa inyong departamento. This is just the second, in the series of things that you will do. Ito yung napakagandang programa because mas napapalapit tayo sa tao at saka yung ating mga kaibigan sa media naman ay may pagkakataon. Every week to na malaman kung ano yung mga proyekto and concerns sa bawat departamento. So, salamat sa inyo.
Maraming salamat, sir. At talaga namang nabigyang linaw ng ating mga resource persons ang mga concerns at mga proyekto, mga programa at talagang nailapit po sa ating mga kababayan sa tulong ng ating mga partners sa media industry. So, dito po nagtatapos ang ating ikalawang episode ng Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga naging panauhin at nakasama ngayong araw.